oh so off the Facebook I go. Not that I'm making, it's slow, but you got to start someplace, right? Boy, man, that 13 is so much better looking than the 12. It's unbelievable. I want to talk about states taxing weed too high. And before I do that, I also want to talk about, before I talk about states taxing weed too high, I want to talk about using the iPhone 13 Pro Max and importing your pictures, because there's some difficulty and a lot of people are confused. All you have to do is process the pictures in your phone first. So make sure and process the pictures. But then the kicker is when you're excuse me, when you're importing them into your computer, there's going to be two of them. You can't just import both, it won't do it. So what you have to do is import, not the first one, that's the original, import the second one that has been processed. And you keep doing that down the line. If you try and import all 20, but you only shot 10 times, it's not going to import. So process it in your phone, right? Then when you're importing, only pick the ones that have been processed, and it works fine. You can't use the lightning cord or whatever it's called to import with. You have to use a USB. Okay, so states are taxing. There's a lot of states that are taxing weed way too high. It's just going to be counterproductive, and it's going to keep weed on the black market. Now, that's fine for people that have been selling. I don't know what this guy's writing something, but it's going to keep a lot of people that have been selling illegally, selling still on the black market, which I'm fine. I'm fine with. I think that big deal. You could grow it in your yard if you want to sell some to your neighbor or something. Whatever. You're allowed in New York State. You're allowed 3 plants a person. There's 2 people in this house. If we wanted to grow weed, we could grow 6 plants. You're going to have extra. You can give it away. Listen, I'll tell you what. You know what? You're annoying me already because your stuff doesn't even fit the chat. Okay? So Tim Storms, man, I'm sorry, but I'm hiding you because you might be saying some stuff that makes sense, but you do something with your channel. Nobody wants to read half of what you're writing because you're posting it like that. Okay? So go. So, if states want to make money, now, New York State is going to tax theirs at 9%, which I don't think is too high. It's not too bad. You have to tax it at something like alcohol and cigarettes. I think all those sugar should be taxed real high. I think that there should be a federal, like Satan's tax, where anything that's bad for you, according to how bad it is, that's how high it's taxed. So maybe guns are taxed high. You can buy guns. I'm a gun owner, but if you're going to buy a gun, you're going to have to pay like an extra cost. If you're going, and it's a car. A car is going to cost more money. We lose about the same amount of lives every year with a car as guns. Most of gun deaths, by the way, are by suicide. So do we really want to make guns illegal? We hear a lot of bad stories about kids shooting up schools. Yes, that's true. That's terrible. It's terrible. And it should never happen. It should flat out never happen. Something's got to be done with that. Like, my whole thing with that is I'm sorry, but I see that every school should be required to have safety officers at every door. No kid can get in without going through a metal detector. That's how it is. You got to keep the kids safe. I have a ton of ideas. See, I was gonna run for office, but That would take funding. I was going to run against Tom Reed, who's a Republican. I'm conservative. I would have run as an independent. But people are like, no, that's going to cost too much. Listen, it's going to give people jobs, okay? And that money's going to be spent. So that's how we deal with the kids in schools. Just take that away from, get the ability for some idiot to go in the school and start shooting children, or children shooting other children. Take that off the table. They can't get in the building. The windows are locked. You got to go through one door or two doors, and that's it. Just take it off the table. Like, each school has to allocate, say you have 3 people working in the school doing security, you pay them $85,000 a piece. It's a school district. It's an extra $500,000 in taxes or something. Come on. Or the federal government's going to have to chip in on some of this. But that's how you deal with that. You don't talk about like taking people's guns away, which that's not really what anybody's doing. They want restrictions. I'm all for it. As a gun owner, I'm like, why do you need anything other than an 8-round capacity? It's nonsense. Shotgun, I can only have 3. If I'm shooting blues or snows, in some areas you can put all 5 in a shotgun. You can take the plug out. But why do you need more than an 8-round capacity? You got issues, man. You got issues, or you're a terrible shot. So it doesn't seem like too much an issue for me. I don't care if somebody wants to own an. My neighbor owns an AR. That's just aesthetics anyway. I'm just telling you. Like, most people cannot own a full auto. It's a semi-automatic. It's similar to a deer rifle. I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's just a lot of idiots, and I'm not talking about my neighbor is not an idiot. He was in the military. He learned on a assault style rifle. So that's one of the guns he owns. I'm all for it. No problem. But there's a lot of idiots, like, what's his name in Wisconsin, the kid. Oh, I want to own an AR. He wants to play Army man. Well, he's never even in the Army. He wants to be a vigilante. That's the problem we have. There's other issues with mental illness. The guy out there in Las Vegas and stuff. Why did he have the ability to have the, whatever it's called, where you can, it's more than 100 rounds. It's some kind of, I don't know the term for it. But yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. Why? Nobody needs more than 8 rounds. You're shooting target practice, reload. Reload, okay? Nobody needs more than 8 rounds. And in most areas of the country, you can't just own a fully auto gun. That's not how it is. Like in New York State, you have an 8-round capacity. You can only own a semi-automatic. Now, if you had a curio or relic license, my father had one of those. He could own a lot of shit that normal people couldn't own. It just had to be 50 years or older. But there's a lot of stuff that's 50 years old that functions great. I own the 2 guns that, the only 2 guns that have shot a Bigfoot. I own both those. Those are Browning A5s. They're over 50 years old. They shoot great. They're like a Cadillac. But the whole school, the whole kids shooting up schools, that you got to take that off the table. We just had to pay more, and that's all it is. A lot of this could be paid for by legalizing marijuana and taxing it appropriately, and doing what I say is having a Satan's tax, where we use actuaries to, say what is more detrimental to human beings than other things. So like cars, guns, sugar, alcohol, weed, all those things will be taxed accordingly to how bad it is for you. You take that money to pay for much of the stuff that we need. Like everybody needs health care. We need to have every school, public school, to have enough security in it that you can't go in and out of it without like going through a metal detector. There's no open. We need that. And if it's a private school, you got to charge more because you're going to have to pony up, enough for your security people to take care of this. For a school, for each school to have to come up with for a salary, for a salary. Say it's a school of 400 people, 400 children. You would need to have two, right? You'd have to have two, and then you'd have to have a third, at the very least, if anybody got sick. Preferably, you would want four. So say for 400, you have two doors going in, right? If somebody's sick, there could only be one person at the door. That would be okay. Everybody's got to go through the metal detector. But generally speaking, you have two doors where you can go in and out of, two people on each door. If somebody gets sick, okay, you still got one person on each door. $85,000 a year, that's good money. So you got four people at $85,000 each school in each district. You're talking about a pittance. You have what? Like in each school district, like in this area, how many schools are there? Not that many public schools. And you make, hey, I gotta pay taxes already. I pay a ridiculous school tax here. I don't even have children. I'm willing, I have to pay it, but I'd be willing to pay it anyway because, what do they say? Children are our future. It's cliche and true. So you pay more in taxes. Like say I pay $2,600 a year for taxes, right? For this dump. 27 is going to make that big of a difference? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm already strapped as it is. You cover that, right? By more taxes, and you could cover it by more taxes with a Satan's tax where you're taxed for things that are more worse for you. A car, like say a Tesla, is safer than like I don't know, what's a Dodge or something, a low-level Dodge or Ford. So the Tesla, which is more expensive, you're taxed less. It's not that complicated. But you would use like a bank of actuaries to decide what is worse for us than some things. It's not that hard. The politicians are making it, and the government are making it more difficult than it has to be. Definitely. And as far as weed goes, you don't want to tax it up too high. Like 9%, I think, is fair for New York State. But there's states that have legalized weed that it's like 15, 16%. That's just going to keep the people that are doing it illegally in business. And I'm all for it. I'm all for that. I think that maybe it should be, something should be figured out. So if you want to do that, it should be comparable to selling something in a farmer's market. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, you're making it legal. You can grow it in your yard. We can grow it in our yard here. Seriously, 3 plants per person, 2 people in the South. We could grow 6 plants. I think that, including the people that have been doing it in the black market, right, illegally selling weed somehow would be very wise, because they're not going to go away. They're going to keep undercutting. Like if it's 9%, it's not that big of a deal, right? Somebody's just going to go down to the store and get it. But if it's 15, 16%, they're being taxed, not good. You lower the tax to something like the weed tax in New York, which is going to be 9%, and then you include the people that are in the black market. They're not going to have a storefront, but you make it so maybe they pay for a license where they could sell it in a farmer's market or something. Now, they might not sell it in a farmer's market, but because they know that they might get a ticket, they'll buy the license anyway, and they're just going to be selling it out of their house. But you'll get some revenue from them where you get nothing, states. You get nothing from it. I mean, personally, I think the people are just going to grow it. It's legal to grow, but some people don't want to grow tomatoes either. So there's always going to be people that are just going to want to go buy it. I think that they're, like if you're doing it. You're gone, man. This person on Facebook keeps coming back with gibberish. You can grow it legally in New York State, person. You can grow it legally a lot of places in the United States now, okay? So we don't want to hear your stupid stuff, all right? Stupid. Yeah, well, I would imagine if you're growing it out on your front lawn, Tool, a kid could get a hold of it, okay? But if you're growing it in your backyard, it's totally legal. Okay? Do you understand? Like you wouldn't go buy bottles of vodka and leave them on your front steps, would you? Because a child could get it. You know, there's all this just nonsense. It's nonsense. There's people that are idiotic. There's people that are idiotic that are in public office right now. I would be running, but Tom Reed is going to be out because he was. So a Democrat ran against him and didn't win, but he's going to be out because there's dirt on him if he hasn't already resigned. I don't know, but he's terrible. He's terrible anyway. That's why I was going to run against him, but now I don't have to, thank God. I've always said this, there's plenty of dirt on me, okay? And I'll tell you what the dirt is. You could find it. Go talk to anybody that saw me when I was a drunk. I would have run against him. I was planning on using my YouTube channel, but I don't want to be in politics. I don't want people in my shit. You know? If I have to, I will, but like I don't, I just want a peaceful life. Just want to make art. I want to train dogs. I want to do comedy. I don't really need to do that. But I really think that there's a way. They're thinking about it all wrong. They're thinking about it all wrong, about like taxing it real high. Of course, there's going to be people that are going to run to the stores when it's legal and buy the overpriced taxed wheat. That is going to happen because it's a novelty item. But after that wears off, Johnny Joe Johnson down the street is selling it, and it's a lot cheaper, and it's good. I'll just buy it from him. You include them some way. You get some revenue from the people that are going to sell it on the black market. You do that by saying, like, look, if we find that you're doing it, you're going to get a huge ticket. You can avoid the ticket by buying a license. You could buy a license, so that maybe you could sell it at a farmer's market. But like I said, let's be real. The person that's selling at the farmer's market will probably sell it at home too. But you got some money from them, and what do you want to do? You want to go after them for nonsense? Like they're selling it out of their house. It's marijuana. Who cares? It's been fucking years of this since the, 1920s or something? They made it illegal. Just move on. Move on. Just make, personally, I think a lot of shit should just be legal and tax the crap out of it. Same thing, Satan's tax. You're a heroin addict. All right? I know. I think about Amsterdam. Maybe that should be a consideration. I know it sounds outrageous, but it should be considered. Make it legal and, make it available. But then that doesn't go with my Satan's tax, because that shit you'd have to tax so high, they'd still be in the same situation. They couldn't get it. Maybe you just decriminalize it or something. Everybody that I know that did that stuff is a wreck for the rest of their life. Like, they're always like I think about this one friend of mine, like, he's like, he'll talk about it fondly. Like, how can you talk about that fondly? It sounds like it was horrible. It's horrible. It screws up your brain. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I have some ideas. I'm an idea guy. But 16, 17% for weed, taxing it, you're just going to keep the people that are doing it illegally in business. How's that make sense? It really doesn't. It doesn't. So tax it lower and try and include them with like maybe they pay $250 a year for some kind of license to sell it. For $250 a year, they can sell it in a farmer's market. There are some issues that, like, it's going in your body, so, but I mean, like, you could grow tomatoes and sell it in a farmer's market, so that's going in your body too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you could put pesticides, you could use the wrong thing with tomatoes just as easy. So put it as like an agricultural product that you could grow at your house and sell at our farmer's market. Sell a license of some kind and try and get some revenue from the people that are always going to be. There's people that have been selling weed for 40, 50 years, their whole lives. Like, that's how they make a living. I've always known people like that. Like, how are you affording that? And then I find out that they're, they grow weed and sell it. I can't imagine, like, in college, I bought a quarter pound, and my idea was to make money selling it, right? This is true. And there's all kinds of dirt on me. I'll just admit to it. See, that's why I could be a politician. And I'd be a good politician because I'd own up to my shit that I did. But the problem was I think I paid like $250 for the quarter pound, something like that. It wasn't, and this was back in the 80s, the early 80s. The problem was nobody knew me as like a person that sold weed. So it was tough to unload, and I also was paranoid because back in the 80s, if you got busted with that, you'd end up in prison. Selling weed you'd end up in prison. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm not doing it. And then, me and my roommates and my friends, we just smoked it. But I mean, I've always known people that, like, that's their livelihood. That's what they do. There's somebody always going over to their house and shit. I would hate it, man. I don't like people that much. Like, everybody's been over to the person that sells weed's house. They're usually sitting around watching TV doing bongs. They do bongs all day. They're paying for their weed and, their rent and shit. It's, do you want to take their jobs away? I don't think so. You don't. And they're going to keep selling it anyway. They're just going to undercut the stuff that you buy in the store. So how do you work that? I think that the answer is selling them a license. Because if you put it out there, if they have the choice of like, hey, I'm never going to get a ticket if I pay $250, there will be paranoid people though that'll be like, no, I don't want the government knowing that I have weed in my house or something. This paranoia is rampant in this country. It is. All the conspiracy crap, my God. Like, there were people that thought that, like, if you get the vaccine, the government can track you. The government can track you anyway. You got something called a credit card. You go through a toll booth, There's cameras all over. You'd be tracked real easy. They don't need to put a chip in you. That's just nonsense. And by the way, as somebody that was a vet tech, those chips that they put in dogs, the needle is huge. The vaccine, the needle's the smallest needle I've ever seen. You barely even feel it. Nobody was putting a microchip in you to track you. That's nonsense. And if anybody does that, it's going to be the gray aliens. It's not going to be the U.S. government. It's absurd. Guy down at Dollar General was telling me this. I was looking at him like, are you an idiot? You're an idiot, right? Nice guy, nice kid. I ended up like enjoying like banter when he worked there. But I mean, it was just like, but it's interesting that people hear this stuff. Perfectly intelligent people start believing it. They hear it over and over again. It's like you get your news from Facebook or something, or your, right-wing friend. That's not the way to do it. Conservative person, right? But, the New York Times would be considered the paper of record. I don't believe it if a politician is saying it's fake news because the news agency is saying something negative about him. It's not fake news. It's news, and it's based on facts. I'm talking to Facebook right now because there's a lot of that on Facebook. There is. There's a ton of it. There's people that just get their news from Facebook, and it's all conspiracy QAnon stuff that's, oh, really? That's true? No, it's not true. I mean, to me, it just makes perfect sense. Like, you have a politician, newspapers are what kind of keeps our government in check. This is true. And then you have a politician that is saying that all the news agencies except one, it's all fake news. And then there were people that were believing that. You know why? Because they only listen to Fox. But you have Fox, and then everybody else is saying something completely different. But because they're hearing it on Fox, they're believing it. It's outrageous. It's George Orwell, 1984. It's outrageous. It's outrageous that I know people are perfectly intelligent. I have family members that are still Republican. I was like, as soon as like he was running, I'm like, if he wins the nomination, I'm not voting for this guy. He's a known liar. I can't vote for him. And then after watching what happened and what's happening he ran on this platform talking about Hillary constantly, and her emails and stuff and how illegal it was, which it was proof that she didn't really do anything illegal. He took documents down to Mar-a-Lago with him. Yet, he never shut up, and Fox never shut up about this Hillary thing. He took documents out of the White House. There's people leaving Facebook right now. They can't take it. It's a fact. The National Archives had trouble getting stuff back from him, and I'm sure that they're not getting all of it back. Guy has no morals, and he was bad. He was impeached twice. What president's been impeached twice? One. The Republican that I didn't vote for. I'll tell you that. I wasn't about to vote for him. There's still people that back that guy. He's two-faced. He told people not to get the vaccine, but he got vaccinated. And now he talks about getting boosted, and people boo him at his stupid rallies. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. There's nobody on Facebook. Everybody from Facebook left. They can't take it. It's so slanted one way on that platform. It's unbelievable. What is that? What is that? Like, you go on there and it's just like there's troll activity on both, One of them, the Troll Activity, is about certain things. It's really insidious, nasty shit. You know, it's really weird. What's up? Hey, what's up, Trevor? One of my many reasons I left Facebook. I'm still on Facebook. I got it. I'm live streaming right now, but like they can't take it. It. Yeah, I'm putting my foot down. I got my. Oh, hang on, Hillsby. I didn't know about this. Hillsby, your brother passed away? I'm putting my foot down. I got my brother home. He's being buried next to my grandpa. Leave me out of it. Where was he? Where was your brother that you had to get him back? Was he overseas or something? I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. He burned through $500,000 on men. Well, he lost. He lost more than that. It was like, yeah. It's something like that. Hillsby, did your brother OD? Really sorry to hear that. That sucks. I must have missed that. That sucks. Trying to help Hillsby's thing. I didn't see it. Oh, you had to identify his body? My God, Hillsby. I'm so sorry. I got his remains returned. I'm paying for the burial. What more do they want me to do? Sounds like you've done plenty. Sounds... I'm sorry, Hillsby. Yesterday was so awful. My brother OD'd and I didn't have an ID on him, so my friend saw a list of unclaimed bodies at the morgue and I had to identify him over the phone by... Oh, shit, Hillsby. I just seeing this. God, Hillsby. That's tragic. I'm sorry. It's all happened yesterday. Today is his birthday, too. Oh, man. How old was your brother? Clearly young. Congratulations, Shirley. I'm over 25 years sober. Yeah, addiction sucks. It does. I'm sorry to hear about that, Hillsby. I didn't. 46. You have kids? Was he alone? I mean, like, not alone. You obviously were there. Does he have children? No kids. He's got a sister. That's terrible. What's up, PO? Yeah, that is. That's really bad, you know. Losing somebody's tough. I have no words of wisdom. It's like, he was in and out of jail and battling heroin addiction. Heroin, yeah, it's not good. Like I said, everybody I know that was addicted to that crap the recidivism rate is like huge, and even if they kick it, they're still always like thinking of it fondly. It fucks up your brain. That's terrible, Hillsby. Fuck, man. I don't know what to say except I'm sorry. 46. I'm drinking coffee. That heroin, man. It's a huge problem in this country. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You did everything. Don't worry about the funeral. I don't go to funerals. That doesn't mean that you're not thinking about your brother. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go to the funeral. All right? Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not anybody's fault. You know, either the alcoholic or the drunk hits rock bottom and they want to quit, or they don't. And even if you get them locked up into rehab, they might quit for a while, but they really need to want to do it. That's how I was. I was like, fuck it, it's either it's this or die. You don't have to go to that funeral. Good, you know. I don't go to funerals. So I get it. You don't have to go deal with everybody. Doesn't mean that you're not thinking about. Well, obviously you did all the terrible crap yesterday and today. You all right? Probably not. Stupid question. Oh, you don't go to funerals either, PL. Yeah, you mourn in your own way. Funerals are for the living. A lot of the living are family members. You don't want to deal with them. I don't want to deal with everybody. Yeah, funerals. Yeah, it's like no thanks. Yeah, I don't. Just keep muddling through. Sort of. I don't know. Death, you kind of like becomes just real matter of fact. First, it's like surreal. The person's gone. You know. His friends are giving me shit because they want his ashes, so I'm bad guy because I refuse to split him up. Fuck his friends. Just what do they care? What are they causing problems for? You know? Fuck his friends. Were his friends junkies? Do they have issues? Sounds like it. Yeah, they do sound like terrible people. What kind of people are these? Split up his ashes? What's that? I've never heard of that. Oh, they're junkies? Fuck them, man. Write them off. Write them off. They're not clear-headed to begin with. That sucks. Meth heads and the like. Yeah. Can we have his ashes? Give me some of his ashes. This is weird, man. It's just who would ask for that? Yeah, who does that? Like, Oh, could I spread some of his ashes? What? You know? You know, thanks, Toxic. Um, yeah, I think you can have ashes made into cubic zirconia. I think I've heard that. I think you can. But why? Why? You know, why would you want, you know? It's real weird, man. My brother and my grandpa both have the same birthday, and they have the same name. My brother was proud of my grandpa and loved him. So that's where he's going. Fuck you. Um, Meaning the headstone's going there, and then he's being cremated though, but there's gonna be a headstone someplace. Or no, he's not being cremated, he's being buried. Or his ashes are being buried. I don't want to be buried. Not my body. You can do whatever. You can flush the ashes, I don't care. I don't want my carcass lying around in the ground. You know, headstone and the ashes are going next to grandpa. Um, do you not like your grandpa? Was he a dick? Just curious. That's weird that the grandson. I paid to have him cremated. Yes, I say. Sort of weird burying the kid next to the grandfather. That's sort of weird. Can you all have a piece of me? Yeah, you could do whatever you want with the ashes. I don't care. No, my grandpa was awesome. Um, so you don't really care if he's buried there, right? But you're like, I don't know. Um, it's YouTube over here, Facebook. It's two people on Facebook. Holocaust survivor doctor spoiled us all rotten. Oh, no shit. Is he in one of those cemeteries that has the ivy? Hmm. Like I remember, Jewish cemeteries in St. Louis had like ivy. They had a lot of ivy over where the person was buried. Do you know what I'm talking about? Um, like in St. Louis, I remember driving by Jewish cemeteries. They had that. I don't remember seeing that in New York City though. Um, Maybe that was just one Jewish cemetery where they did that. Um, That sucks, Hillsby. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Ivy Garden. Um, that blows, man. Life's short, that's for sure. You never know when you're gonna go. Chances are, if you're using them, you know. No, I haven't acid graze anything like that. I'm not up there like, you know, sitting around a table cross-legged and all right, go feed the dogs, Hillsby. Sorry, that sucks. Sort of gets more tolerable with time, for lack of a better term. I gotta go. I gotta go do something too. I'll live stream later. PL. I'm glad to see PL here too. I haven't seen PL in a while. She's too busy with Foxy and her 2 jobs and her whatever she's making, chicken pie or whatever, making her pot pie, impressing Toxic with her cooking, her English style cooking. Anyway, I gotta go deal with the dogs. I'll live stream later. Fuck, Hillsby, that's horrible. I'll probably be single again. Oh, really? Well, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, I gotta go.